I have something in this bag that'll blow your mind. I lied. It's trash. The trash of the day is label ribbon tube. You can also use the cut sections of a Pringles can. But this is too naked for my delicate sensibilities, so I've glued on strips of composite cardboard to imply support beams of some sort. You'll notice how rare it is to observe me measuring much of anything, so savor it. I want the front face of the Goblin Hovel to have some personality, so I have to manufacture supposed personality from more trash. Just gonna glue that personality right on. Our glued-on personality needs a window into the soul, so I'll be hacking one out with an X-Acto knife. I would like to point out for no particular reason that in 2017 I cut the tip of my finger off. Extra detail to make it scream, "This is a window." Behold the barbecue skewer. It would appear that I did learn something in 2017. Now, splitting barbecue skewers is pretty easy and relatively safe, but I would like to make it clear now that I produce content for depressed adults, not children. Time to cut my flat-sided stick to frame that cyclopean house eye. Thankfully, I have the sense to cut most of this footage, as it was 7 minutes of grief placing each and every one of these after incessant trimming. Very pretty. More composite cardboard. You'll find that it's one of my favorite materials to work with. It's great for cobblestones and also, in this specific case, making a stone foundation. It's easily torn apart with your fingers, and it works very well with PVA glue. You'll notice that I've left a gap underneath the poorly drawn door. That's a surprise for later. I wouldn't get too excited, though. It's stairs. It was always stairs. Say hello to my blue goop. This is a mix of play sand and PVA glue. Another example of my refusal to measure anything. I have no idea how much of either makes this goop, or in this consistency. This will add bulk and a mud stucco texture to the exterior walls. Leftover split bamboo BBQ sticks make for a great lattice, or whatever that is supposed to be. Whatever it is, it fits the aesthetic. Right about now, you will notice that I also framed out the window and the door. I chose to do this off camera because what is the point in recording this 3 separate times? Speaking of the door, I think it needs a little more detail, and that will do nicely. Anyway, the main structure's time in the spotlight is now over. This is a different blue goop, and it will be very important in a few moments. Now I need a roof, and I'm going to make that out of BBQ sticks and superglue. However, it was such a pain in the unmentionables that I'm going to skip to the very end to make it look as though I knew what I was doing the entire time. I had the foresight to cover this in saran wrap. Yeah, this next step is going to be a lot of wet paper. And struggle. A lot of struggle. Now, in theory, all I have to do is beat up this paper until it looks reasonably distressed, and then apply a coat of primer. Or so you would think. I recorded most of this in November, and my life tends to fall apart in November because of the Thanksgiving rush, and unloading up to 40 cases of pie at work. Or, as I like to call it, hell. Anyway, primer. As I'm recording this dub, I keep hearing what sounds like gunshots, and given the fact that I live in the US during an election year, it might be. Anyway, I'm taking care of some of the basic colors. These are layer paints from Citadel, and that would be a wash also from Citadel. It's Agrax Earthshade, and it's one of my favorites, although sometimes it does need to be watered down just a little bit. This is starting to look pretty good, but you know what I think it needs? A not at all aggressive dry brushing in a very light beige. When I began this step, I thought it would look nice and be kind of smart if I had the paint around the doors and the windows be kind of messy. I don't think goblins care all that much about neatness or staying against all of the lines, but a friend pointed out that all of this looks like bird droppings. So now, in my mind, the goblins who live here have 138 pet sparrows, and that is in fact bird shit spilling out of the windows. You're welcome. I applied some more washes. It was kind of hit or miss on this stage. I thought that I recorded doing all of this over at some point, but apparently I did not. I have clear memory of recording this, but I can find no evidence on my computer or any of my devices, so you're going to have to take my word for it. I also added some handprints and a set of stairs with some goblin footprints on it. Again, I don't think goblins would care much about the paint being messy or spilling it on the floor, or stepping in it. One of my favorite things about the redo that I did was the roof. I wanted it to look like skin that was sewn together from several different creatures. The next step is some other general weathering, and I like to do this with watercolor cakes. This would be moss. Watercolor dries in such a way that it has a lot of variation, which moss also has a lot of variation. So it is very convincing, especially if you're painting it on something like stucco or mud. You might have noticed the sound of running water in the background. Something that happened between this year and last year was buying a water fountain for my cats. I'm not turning it off just to record, so you're going to have to live with the sudden urge to urinate. Anyway, I'm now adding the final touches, which would be grass flocking. This can be applied with almost any PVA glue, although I do like the kind that dries faster. Right now all I have is Elmer's glue. As a matter of fact, I have a gallon of it because I became so frustrated with the dollar store never restocking their glue that I bought a gallon of it from Walmart. Anyway, it's time for the final shots. Thank you for watching. My goal with these videos is to show everyone that you can, in fact, make great tabletop terrain from garbage. I believe the entry cost for tabletop gaming should be nothing or close to it. That being said, I think this will look great on game day. How great, you might wonder? The answer is pretty damn good. Keep an eye out for my next video.